In Equestria's future, we see that ponies hadn't been able to use magic for quite some time. Yet, day and night still come and go. Without magic, how is this possible? As far back as history records, ponies have been raising the sun and moon with their horns. First by a group of 6 unicorn sorcerers, including Starswirl the Bearded, and then by Celestia and Luna. When the royal sisters retired, they passed on the responsibility to Twilight, but this was different. Twilight was only ever able to move the sun and moon when she had the royal sisters' magic, so the sisters put a small part of their power into this amulet. For the first time in history, the sun and moon were being moved with artifact magic, not innate horn magic. I think this is part of why day and night survived. As we saw with Cozy Glow's scheme, artifacts are resilient and need the least magic to survive. If the tribe's crystals are still working, then the day-night amulet should still be working as well. Now, the amulet is activated by innate magic, which would make it pretty useless in the form we know, but it might not have kept that form. If the amulet was turned into a dial that you could manipulate with regular non-magic physics, it could still be what's powering day and night to this day. That little seed of Celestia and Luna's magic still making the world go round. But that brings up a new question. Where's the day-night amulet now, and who's controlling it? The answer depends on what Twilight Sparkle decided to do with the amulet. The most obvious idea is that she controlled the day and night until the end of her rule, then passed on the responsibility to a successor, who passed it on to their successor, so on and so forth. This would mean that somewhere out there, the most recent successor is still controlling the amulet to this day. Since there's no single top authority in Equestria anymore, the responsibility may have diverged from official government duty. Maybe it branched off into its own society of timekeepers. But as fun as that sounds, I think Twilight had something entirely different in mind. Something revolutionary. Let's back up a bit. So, Twilight inheriting the day and night cycle in the first place is kind of ridiculous, right? The royal sisters raised the sun and moon because they were best suited for the job, but now any unicorn with the amulet can do it. So why is this Twilight's responsibility again? I think this line highlights the absurdity of it all best. Celestia told Twilight she could activate the amulet at any time, facetiously adding, preferably dawn and dusk. But just think about that for a moment. Dawn is defined as when the sun rises. It's by definition impossible to raise the sun at any time besides dawn. Same thing goes for dusk. Adding preferably dawn and dusk is literally meaningless, unless Celestia meant for Twilight to keep moving the sun and moon in accordance with the pattern they've kept up. In other words, watch the clock and make it be dawn and dusk at the same times they've been doing it. You see how silly this is now? Clocks used to tell Twilight what time it is, but from now on, they tell Twilight what time she needs to make it be. It made sense when the magic was being cast directly, but now, if you're gonna automate the source of your power, you might as well automate the timing of it, too. And that's exactly what I think Twilight did. She revolutionized the day-night cycle. Think of what we know about her. She's always been very practical, whipping up lists and finding the most efficient use of her time. Remember the mirror to the human world? She doesn't just take things at face value. Sure, it naturally keeps closed until every 30th moon, but Twilight didn't just accept that. Combining magic with technology, she came up with a way to keep it open 24/7. That same inventiveness could devise a structure to automate the amulet, far more precisely than any pony could keep up with. She could connect it to a giant clock designed to be perfectly accurate for millennia. This clock wouldn't just describe the time of day, it would define it. Change the time on the clock, change the time of day. Before her reign came to an end, there's actually evidence that Twilight had automated the day-night cycle. When Luster Dawn was running off with her new friends, Twilight watched nostalgically as the sun set. She wasn't controlling the amulet here, which means either someone else was on sun duty that day, or no one was. It was being done automatically. Twilight has learned to delegate, and instead of burdening some flawed pony with such an important task, why not just give it to a machine that can do it better? This just seems to fit best with Twilight's sensibilities, so that's what I think happened to the amulet. I also just like the idea of Equestria having a master clock. It'd be such a mysterious part of this world and its lore. Like, what if it ran out of juice? Imagine Sunny and the gang going about their day until they notice their day's going about a bit too long. Shouldn't the sun have set by now? Equestria collapses into sheer panic as they realize the sun has stopped dead in its tracks. Eternal day. Worried about drought, the gang sets off to get to the bottom of it. This parallels how the main six's first adventure involved eternal night, but this time, they don't know what's causing it. No villain to announce the day shall last forever, it just happens. A mystery for them to solve. Using Argyle's research, the gang discovers an enormous structure that hasn't been touched for centuries. It's surrounded by power grids and full of enormous clock gears and pendulums, all built around this tiny, ancient amulet. I guess they find a way to power it back up and restore the day-night cycle, but with names like Sunny Star Scout and Izzy Moonbow, I wonder if these two specifically might play a bigger part here. Perhaps they'll somehow absorb the power from the amulet and have to take on the responsibility themselves. I'm into some wild speculation at this point, but I can't help myself. There's just something electrifying about this whole idea, uncovering a piece of their distant past and my time's distant future. What could be more exciting? But what do you think? Am I right about what Twilight did with the amulet? If not, how are day and night still happening? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, like the video. And if you want to see more, subscribe and ring the bell. If you want to support this channel financially, check out me and my sister's t-shirts on Etsy. Or you could check out my perks at patreon.com/sawtoothwaves. And thank you so much to everyone who already has, especially my Alicorn tier patrons. The Nameless One, Equinox 3141, Darth Sylar 12, Maximilian HG, Cyanax, Petrolhead 02, Solar Scripture, Princess Starglow, Colorshine, Torn, Ishi, Jane Shadow, and this video's Alicorn of the Week, Cameo Shadowness. Congrats, and thanks again for everyone's support. Y'all help make this channel possible. I've been Sawtooth Waves, signing out until next time. Brohoof.